All right, this thing on, this thing on, we're on. All right, let's get this thing started. Happy Sunday, everyone. Man, Monday or Friday, sorry, it's been a long weekend. Friday was wild. We had one hell of a sell off. It's not very often we have days where we completely retrace like a 250 point move to end at the low of day. Um, that was wild. So that's going to be something that we definitely need to keep note on. This is NQ, by the way. Gonna need to keep note on this whole lower high on the daily chart, that sell off that we had on Friday. I mean, that's just not. It's not a great look going into what is going to be a volatile, very volatile week. So we're going to be paying attention to that. We did fill a previous old gap. But still, it's just a heck of a week ahead of us. We have CPI on Wednesday. And as you all know, the last CPI result, or the last CPI resulted in a paused rate. And now this is going to be the first CPI that we have since we had that paused rate. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people on edge here. Now, let me flip over to, I have Financial Juice up, and we'll scroll down. There's really not a lot of big news releases as far as US goes until Wednesday. And then we have CPI. But something I want to point out here is we have some pretty big jumps as far as year over year. They brought that down to 5%, which that one's like not too bad. I mean, it's kind of a big jump, but the big one is the core CPI is 5%, but the just year over year US CPI, they have that jumping from 4%, which was the previous, and their forecast is 3.1. which that is a massive jump when you've been looking at all of our previous CPI releases. So in my opinion, after, just kind of looking through everything, I think that's an overestimate and we're not going to beat that CPI forecast. That's just my opinion. Remember, I'm an idiot. But still, I don't think we're going to beat that CPI forecast, which is going to lead to a lot of volatility. Maybe we get a pullback. I'm really not sure. If we do end up, matching that, then, probably market continues as normal. It's gonna do what it planned to do regardless, but I don't think we quite beat that. However, we were talking as well the last time we were all on stream, that CPI tends to, like, all of these inflation numbers tend to lag 2 to 3 months behind whatever the rate decision is. So really, this is still a CPI that's based off of previous hikes as well, right? So we could actually see, like, this is, kind of the end of the tapering of the inflation, right? This is still the aggressive tapering of inflation, and then 2 to 3 months we're going to start seeing it really flatten out and maybe be static for a few months around August, September. So yeah, I mean, this release that's coming out, I think it's relatively important, just especially where we look at where we are on the daily chart, right? We are very, very close to all-time highs in the grand scheme of things. We are, before that rapid sell-off, we were almost within 1,000 points on the NASDAQ of all-time highs, which, you all know that is easily achievable within just like a couple days. Hey Oso, hey Keith, nice to see you guys. But yeah, so really just in the grand scheme of things, we're almost back at all-time highs. We've had an extremely aggressive buy up. The last 2 months have been, you guys can see right there. It's really quick, sharp pullbacks followed by just absolute rocket ships straight up. So I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see some volatility this week, maybe some chopping around. And creating like, a small consolidation zone before making maybe a final move in one direction or the other. Because of right now, I mean, like I said, we've been increasing at such a high rate. So I would expect some pullback. That is my honest opinion, that this week it's going to be volatile. We're going to get some pullback. Probably, I don't think we pull all the way back to 14,500, right? We're all the way up at 15,239. So that'd be, 700 points down, which, I mean, isn't totally out of the realm of things. That's 2 or 3 days of hard selling. But I see us building more of a consolidation zone. As you can see, we really haven't, each move up, we haven't really been accumulating much volume for these moves up. A lot of this volume was already here from the move down, because that's where our volume profile starts for the move down. So because we haven't had that huge amount of volume built up here, I'm not too crazy short, but at the same time, I would expect us to build a little bit of volume in this position, since we've been losing, as you can see, we've been losing steam as we've been going higher. So yeah, that's the macro perspective. That's the news. I mean, really, CPI is the main thing on Wednesday. Like, that is the entire Monday, Tuesday is going to be probably pricing in whatever CPI is going to be bringing. It's followed by a very, very volatile Friday. Also says he's not expecting a big move before CPI, hopefully would make easy TA. Yeah, like I said, I'm not expecting huge moves either, but I'm expecting some volatility. Like, I'm expecting us to really, I mean, there's going to be a lot of players entering and exiting positions going into this release. And there's one other good inflationary factor coming in on Friday, I believe, and that is going to be jobless claims. Oh, and I guess we got PPI as well. Both pre-market. So those will be coming hot off the tail of CPI as well. So really just like Wednesday and Friday this week, going to be very, very volatile days. I probably won't trade those days. I say I won't, but like maybe I do lightly. But it's going to have to be a very, very good setup, or I'm going to have a very strong bias to want to trade either one of those days. Because like I said, Friday is a very, very important inflationary statistic. And Wednesday is literally the measure of inflation. So that's what our entire stock market has been moving off of the last couple years now, right? Has been this whole inflationary discussion. So mostly just be very, very careful and patient this week, because I believe we are in for a ride. So let's go ahead and look at some levels for tomorrow. As we can see right now, the 5-minute, we're actually kind of dumping, which is to be expected. Friday's sell-off, pretty violent. We'll see if we can break these lows, maybe sell a little bit overnight, go touch prior day lows, Thursday's lows, right down around 15,100. I'm not buying anything. I'm not swinging anything overnight. I'm pretty much just staying away from this, waiting until morning. We'll see what happens. What can we see here? This is the ES chart. As you can see, we kind of filled that gap of this was probably 6 days ago now. We gapped up pretty hard overnight and just consolidated for a few days. And then overnight, we gapped down. We filled kind of that gap the prior day. We filled that gap and then just sold off very, very hard, right? We tested that prior consolidation zone and sold off. There's a lot of gaps down below that could or could not be filled as far as this contract goes. So, like I said, I'm not really getting, we're at the top of the move, right? So there's no point in looking at this pullback and going like, holy cow, we should get in a heavy long position. Like it's a little too late for that, in my opinion. We need to see a real pullback, a real few days of selling before I start thinking like, okay, maybe it's time we try some swing positions again. Oso says market has felt really dumpy, but it's hard to imagine right before CPI. Yeah, like I said, we could see a major like pricing in event. Who knows, right? Morning Zedek. Chief Keef says 43.63. What do you see down there? Oh, yeah, those prior lows. I see what you're looking at there, big dog. We do have some volume there as well. At least I know there's volume there. I don't have my volume chart on. Let's flip over to NQ, something I know here. RTH NQ. So this is regular trading hours only. See, NQ actually did fill the gap perfectly. I mean, it was almost to the tick, like 2 or 3 ticks of excess, and then we literally just sold off, which, I mean, some people are saying like, oh yeah, I totally saw that full sell-off coming. It's like, statistically, we don't retrace full days that often. So, I mean, statistics really, like I said, just aren't in your favor there. I mean, it did happen though. Like, so if you caught the short from the high, I know Joel did. Joel shorted the high absolutely perfectly and took profit for like 5 points. So I give him a little shit about that he's sold at the top of like the most gnarly sell-off that we've seen in quite a while. Just listen to our, also says, just listening to Goose, we should do a weekly prediction stream. I'm completely down, and this week is going to be a hard one to predict though with CPI. My prediction is that we do get some pullback this week. I'm not exactly sure where to. There is so much structure down below from this entire rip up that could be possible targets. So you can almost pick any random number down below within a reasonable distance. And I'd be like, yeah, it's totally, we could totally test there, you know? On NQ, I do think the area of 14,900, like this whole 14,850 to 14,900 area, this is that that lower end right here of the consolidation zone. I mean, I would expect to see some volatility in that area. Maybe we sell off to there, maybe break a little bit below. But I don't have any super hard levels where I'm like, wow, we definitely are going, like, I'm going to buy heavy there. I really just don't. We don't need this trend line here. Yeah, there's just nothing screaming to me like, hey, I'm going to buy at this level of pullback. It's probably going to be more me looking at Rocket Scooter in the morning, being like, hey, do we have any obvious areas of liquidity? Do those areas of liquidity match up with any of my zones? Does it make sense when I look at the macro structure? And then maybe play some light swings from there. But as far as like just playing my raw levels, it's really going to depend on price action, and I'm just not feeling confident in one way or the other, especially with that lower high on the daily. It's just not attractive, and we're kind of out here in the middle of nowhere, right? Like, I don't have a lot that I like here. This orange is the weekly profile. This white is previous month profile, and then this white over here on the right, that is current month's volume profile. As you can see, like, we're just kind of, previous month was super balanced, and then this month we kind of got a little bit of a P profile going on. But I mean, it's just icky all around. It's nothing really that grabs my attention. Yeah, not really any levels at all. We have the 14,980 level, but I mean, that's been wicked pretty easy. I mean, if we do get to this level and break it, I expect some pretty gnarly selling. But yeah, probably 14,750. Looking at, I could see that being tested within a day or two, depending on if we move a lot tonight as well. 14,750 would probably be the first zone, looking at it volume wise, where I'm like, yeah, I could see that like definitely being like a solid support area. Oh, so this is the most bearish Goose has ever been. Makes me proud. I can't, I'll be bearish. Like, I'm bearish when I think the market might be bearish, and that rejection from Friday, I mean, that is such a beautiful swing position. I talked about this in the Discord. I streamed around noon when the top was in the Discord, and I was like, I was talking through it the whole time. I was like, I'm not shorting this area, but like, if someone wanted to short and swing this, I cannot tell them that it's a bad idea. Like, I physically couldn't tell them it's a bad idea. And it 100% was a fantastic short swing position. I mean, this is the golden setup. I don't know if any of you remember Faceless, but I actually learned a lot of this setup right here from him. We have that consolidation zone. We're going to have this first like fake sell-off, and we're going to then be followed with like a fake rip, right? And if that fake rip gets to that previous consolidation zone, that is the area, if you're going to swing a short, if you believe that the market has potential to be bearish, that is the area to short. It's also the same thing I talked about, like how to trade CPI or news events video, where we have what I call here is a diving board or a launch pad, one of the two. But we're going to have that initial move away from there. And I mean, this is just like any support or resistance level that you guys would talk about, only on a much larger scale. You have that consolidation. We have a huge move away one way or the other. Could be a news event or whatever. We're going to come back and retest that launch pad. And at that retest, that's where you want to formulate your position, right? Because like a lot of people were trying to position themselves one way or another right here, right? And a lot of people got chopped up because it wouldn't break out one way or the other, especially right here. I mean, this was disgusting, right? We fake broke out, then we fake went above, and then chopped a little bit more. And then like the attempt at the move happened, but not a lot of people got in their positions real heavy, right? Because a lot of people are still trying to get long. Then we come, and now the real move has, in my opinion, started. You know, I agree with you as well, Oso. I expected 100% for us to bounce somewhere. I mean, let's pull up this 5-minute chart again. I expected, like, you know, we had like 2 or 3 of green 5-minute candles, but I mean, these were like pathetic bounces, right? We even got to initial balance. We had a little bit of scuffle at initial balance where this like previous breakout zone was. I attempted a long here, and I got stopped out for just like a couple points. It kind of went in my favor, and I like moved my stop towards like, oh, it should be safe here. Was not safe there. And then usually like once initial balance high fails, I stay out. And this is exactly why we went to IBL. A lot of times we will like kind of chop around and be gross. This one just literally just sold straight down. It was very, very aggressive selling. Zenek asks, are you guys going to trade ES or NQ? Still the move. I'm going to pull something up for you, Zenek, and this is my gauge on whether or not I trade ES. Where is it at? Let me see if I can snip this real quick. So this is Order Flow Labs. They post this every day. And I want you to look at the harmonic rotation of ES. And the harmonic rotation, this is actually from Thursday. Okay, they haven't posted. Fridays will be posted first thing Monday morning. But the harmonic rotation for ES is currently 6.4, right? This is the amount that ES is going to, like if you think of it in waves, right? You think of the market moving up and down in waves. Well, right now that wave is only like the peak of that wave is only going to be 6.4 points from the bottom on average. NQ is around 40, was 55 the day before, and ES was around like 7 the day before. When ES has a average harmonics around the 9-10 area, I really like trading ES because that's when that really clean trading from ES kind of comes into play, and those initial balance plays and power trade plays really work out. When it starts getting below 8, it gets around that 8 number and below, like we're at 6.4 there. The problem with ES is we get a little bit too grindy at levels, right? You can spend 45 minutes grinding at the level that you entered on before finally maybe moving 5 points. Like if you want to catch that whole harmonic rotation, you're going to be waiting almost an hour or more just to catch that one harmonic rotation. And On ES, like for it to be worth my time trading it, I need to be able to catch at least 5 points. So here I have to catch the entire harmonic rotation just for it to be worth my time. Whereas on NQ, I'm usually playing around 20 points, right? And if I'm playing my my levels, how I normally do, you throw on the strike prices on the chart as well, have whatever your entry exit levels are, and you have your bias towards taking them, I can get 20 points in like 15 minutes, right? Sometimes not even that long, sometimes just a few minutes. And those trades, to me, like NQ to me, is a lot cleaner trading right now, just because I can get a little bit more reaction at those levels, right? The reaction at the level, it's not going to grind, it's going to bounce that level, get me my 20 points, and then I'm going to be out of my trade and done. And that may take 5 to 20 minutes instead of having to wait a few hours just to catch 5 points on ES. Because when you think about it, if we're doing it scale for scale here, I think if we're trading 1 NQ, about 12 points in Q is equivalent to 5 points on ES, right? And 12 points on NQ, that is a very, very quick grab. Like that is a very quick scalp. And I feel like I can get 12 points pretty easily off of my zones, right? I will wait all day for like one play, but I would expect my level to bounce. Usually when I'm trading, I'm expecting my level to bounce probably 100 points, right? I'm looking for a large scale move off of whatever level I'm trading, and then I'm just going to take 25% of what I think. Oh, sorry, Chief. Yeah, I'm just going to take 25% of whatever I think the whole move is going to be. And that generally comes out to 25% or 25 points, right? If I'm expecting a 100-point move, I'm going to take 25 points. That just increases my statistics of completely getting filled on my exits when taking those trades. Because as you've seen, like sometimes swings, like you can get 50 to 75 points in profit, and that thing will come back and clip break even, and then you're like, well, I wasted a lot of time there. You know, unless you trail, and sometimes trailing can get pretty volatile. The way I trail is if I'm expecting us to break above a few strike prices, right? If we're going one strike price to the next, once we break above a strike price, I'll move my stop. In Null, he made an indicator that goes on Quant Tower that you can trail your stop with, or you can see the strike prices on your futures chart. It makes it easier to trail your stop with, because like I said, I'm watching Rocket Scooter. I'll usually take my trades at, you know, these strike prices or initial balance or wherever. If they line up with the strike prices, that gives them more validity to me. But yeah, that's why I'm not trading ES right now. In a very, very long ramble there. That is why I'm not trading ES at the moment. Once those harmonics get back up to like 9, 10, we'll be back on it. But for now, we're just trading ES. It's clean. NQ is dumping right now. I would probably expect us to see new monthly lows overnight tonight. If we do end up supporting here, I just don't expect us to support here, really. I mean, we could. If we did support here, maybe squeeze some shorts or go back to open at Friday's close and then continue to sell. I could see that happening. One last thing before I do go, as far as like plans go, Monday, do not get super hardcore bearish right off the bat, right? Be a little patient, because any sort of rip that's going to happen on Monday, like let's say we open Monday and we maybe pop 25 points or so, or maybe we try selling 20 points and then it gets bought up. If we break above, let's say Monday's or Friday's close, if we break above Friday's close, be aware that we could see a short squeeze, because in the grand scheme of things, you're kind of getting long at or trying to get short at the bottom of a range. We know a range is a range until proven otherwise. And when you really zoom out, when you really zoom out, it's still a bull market, right? The bulls can kick in at any point in time. So don't marry a short. Same thing, don't marry a long, right? We are at the top of a move with, I mean, a lot of people are speculating that we sell off, right? The sell off is almost too obvious. So just be patient and don't get married into a position because a flush in down or any sort of buy up could trigger some sort of large scale squeeze, especially leading into what we know is CPI. CPI is on Wednesday, then we have jobless claims and PPI on Friday. So a very, very volatile and inflationarily important week. Just be very careful, be very patient. This is not the week to get yourself wrecked because the following week should have FOMC, right? And so that'll probably be a very volatile week as well because we'll see if we're going to continue with rate hikes or if we're going to continue pausing them, right? So that's also going to be dependent on what CPI report is here. But after next week, so we have CPI this week, FOMC the following week. After FOMC week, the market will go back to being in a very, very clear trend, in my opinion. So keep yourself safe and alive, or if you have any evals going on, get them past this week and next week so that the following week after FOMC, the week after FOMC, right? Not the day after FOMC, the week after FOMC, the market will be very clear that following week on what's going to happen the rest of the summer. So just stay patient and wait for that, right? So just be patient for 2 weeks. Keep yourself alive for 2 weeks. For the love of God, just don't blow up the next 2 weeks. And then the market will be back to easy trading. But these next 2 weeks, I'm going to assume we're going to be very volatile and it's going to ruin a lot of people. Just be careful, be patient, and wait for the market to be clear because it's probably going to, we're going to shake some people out in this area right here. It's going to get a little spicy in one way or the other. So yeah, that's all I got for tonight, unless anyone else has any sort of questions. That's really the plan. The plan is just to be patient and to be safe. Because like I said, it's gonna be fun. And we'll be watching CPI. We'll all be in the Discord talking about it, what our plans are. If I do take any trades, you'll be able to see it in there. So yeah. Is that any other questions? Hit me up in the Discord. And hell yeah, you guys stay safe and let's have an awesome week. This goose out.